Inventory adjustments are used to modify the quantity on hand for one or more inventory items. The adjustments can be used to either increase or decrease the quantity on hand. When a decreasing inventory adjustment is made, the cost of the inventory will be calculated using the costing method selected on the company setup. An adjustment to increase the quantity of an inventory item defaults to the last cost that that item was purchased at, but does allow you to specify a different cost. To get to the inventory adjustment screen, we would go to Processes, Inventory, and Inventory Adjustments. You'll select the company that you're making the adjustments for, the date that you want the adjustment to be made as of, and it has a sequence for these adjustment transactions that'll increment after each adjustment. Then we're going to select the item that we're making the adjustment for. And then the template. The template tells the system whether or not you're increasing or decreasing the inventory item. In this case, I'm going to increase it. And we're only going to increase it by 1. It will calculate the unit cost based off of that item. However, if you're using inventory locations, you may need to choose the specific location in order to get the right cost. If you need to override the unit cost on an increase, you can. If there are any profit centers or locations that need to be selected for this transaction, you can select those. And if you are maintaining inventory by inventory location, you'll want to select the correct inventory location. If you need to change the unit of measure that you're adjusting, you can select a different unit of measure from the unit of measure box. There is a place for you to put in a notation on the transaction, and if you need to, you can go to the far right and you can select the comments box and put in an additional comment on that line of the transaction. Okay, so that's how you would go ahead and do an increase. Next, we're going to select a different inventory item and we're going to do a decrease to it. So we're going to select this inventory item and we're going to do a decrease. However, notice that the screen does default to the last template used. So I'm going to go and select decrease this time. This time, you'll also notice that it blanks out the unit cost because it's going to calculate the unit cost using the costing method on the detail of the company setup. So I'm going to decrease it by 2. And if I wanted to reference any profit centers or locations, I can. If I'm using inventory locations, I want to select the correct inventory location. The quantity that you put in on this decrease line, I also want to note that you always want to put in a positive quantity because the template will take care of whether or not you're supposed to increase or decrease it. So you don't want a negative on there. But then notice that it did go ahead and calculate the amount of the adjustment based off of the last cost on that item. So that's the adjustment that's going to be made. Again, if you need to put in a notation, there's a field for a notation, and there's also the comments at the end of the line there. When you're done making all of your adjustments, you can click Save to save the adjustment.